Okay, so you see a food reviewer who's a man, with so much influence in the community, yeah. And you see another queer influencer, Bretman Rock, you know, also influential in their community, yeah. They come together to do something both of them are interested in, which is food. Keith Lee does food reviews and commentary, and he uplifts black businesses, black owned businesses, yeah. And Bretman Rock also, uplifts the voices of people in his community. He shows a wonderful side to his hometown, the people, his big family, and all that energy. And they came together to review Filipino food, yeah, because I don't think Keith Lee had tried it before now. Like I said, he's focused on uplifting small businesses, black owned businesses, and all of that. But this was just like, I feel like it was just a fun time, yeah, between two people that wanted to connect in that sense, yeah. Tell me why there is a person that goes around calling themselves the DL Whisperer, that comes upon this video, this interaction, and then react to it by smirking, giggling with this smug energy on their face, declaring somebody's sexual identity, like declaring somebody's sexuality with so much confidence. You understand? You know that this kind of behavior in my own country, okay, in my own country, that kind of behavior can literally send a mob to his house, no matter how influential he is, okay. Money will not save you from homophobia. Where I'm from and the reality that I live in, money cannot save you from from a homophobic mob, okay, that believes that they are doing God's bidding. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. So it's like, what the hell is even deal? First of all, let's start from there.
I think the weird thing about the DL Whisperer cuz is that you would think as a gay man, you would have like empathy or sympathy for somebody that you assumed was gay or was in the closet, you feel me? But instead he has created a social media environment, like kind of shaming men that he deemed to be closeted. You feel what I'm saying? Really with no merit other than, oh yeah, look at him. Look how he speaks, or look how he can. You feel me? Real internalized homophobia. I used that term wrong recently, actually. But like real internalized homophobia. I really think that shit really give like low self-esteem. Like, hey guys, like, can I be cool with y'all type shit? You feel what I'm saying? I know y'all don't like gay people, but hey, look at him, he's gay. You feel me? I think that like to be completely honest, right? I think calling Keith Lee DL because he shared like a wholesome moment with Brett Rockman, right? It just reinforces homophobia. Like, why can't a straight man and a gay man be cool? You feel what I'm saying? Y'all talking about, oh, look how he touching him. You can't tell. That's weird shit. Like, that's just like, bro. He's a married man with children. Who know? Then, and that's not even saying that he can't be possibly gay, bro. But I just think that's a very weird narrative to start, especially from a gay man. But I genuinely do think the DL Whisperer, cuz I think he just suffers from like real low self-esteem and he just wants to be accepted. Or he's doing this shit off of the bread, because I know he making money off them videos. You feel what I'm saying? To be honest, I don't even know. I don't even know if this shit monetized. I'm not familiar with cuz shit. I just hear the name every now and then type shit. You feel what I'm saying? But like, yeah, no, that shit lame. That shit not cool. That's weirdo shit. But that's just how it be.
Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is King. Settle in with me for a chat as I discuss stuff that I care about. Okay, like, subscribe, share your opinions. I'm very open to listening and learning new things from people that come across my videos here and feel inspired to comment. Okay, so let's start the conversation here. DL is literally down low, okay? Down low, okay? And down low is this kind of phrase, is a phrase here. It's a phrase that refers to something that is done covertly, hidden, okay? Intentionally done to be hidden, like. So for a DL man, it's a man that is presenting as straight, but actually is interested in other men, like having sexual relationships with other men. And DL men usually mask with relationships with straight women, okay? They get into relation, even marriages with cis heterosexual women, and the woman is none the wiser, and there has been some unfortunate incidents where women end up with problems in their sexual health because they don't know the secret lives of their husbands. Okay, all of that to say, I get that such people present a serious problem, but we have to, instead of just attacking the symptom, like, let's go to the root of this problem. And the root of this problem is actually homophobia in the Black community. Yes, we have to talk about it. I'm talking about my own reality. I started this video with the reality I live in. I'm living in an African country, okay, Nigeria. You cannot, like, you set a target on yourself the moment you begin to present a way or differently from the rigid expectations of patriarchal dominance in our society. Yeah, as a guy, as a boy, oh god, you are going to be mocked relentlessly and shamed for your naturally presenting behavior or mannerisms. And it's not even, we don't need to go too far. Even in America, that I think is even better than my own country, where at least people can have relationships with the same gender and all of that. A woman actually made a video trying to, like, not trying, but basically profiling her son, her infant son, as gay, and deciding to discipline it out of him. Like, that's just sick and twisted where the world is getting to. But I'm getting to a point. Homophobia is rampant, okay? Homophobia is so rampant in the Black community, and I feel like this is also stemming from our history with white colonialists, and how they refuse us humanity, how they refuse us identity. Okay, Black people were referred to as chattel, animals, okay, beast of burden to do your work, and they don't have feelings, they don't have, like, that kind of thing. Like, those white savages, they are the actual white men, white colonialists are actual savages. Yeah, so they did all of that also. Like, imagine coming from such a generation and trying to reclaim identity. It would just be like, and every freedom that Black people, African Americans, had to earn in that country, they fought for it. That means they earned it, they fought for it relentlessly. They did marches, they lost lives, okay? They fought to be seen as human beings, to be recognized, to even vote, to exist in the same spaces as people with different color of skin. Okay, they fought every step of the way, and they're still fighting till tomorrow. Okay, so I feel like this battle, okay, intergenerational battle woven into the DNAs of African Americans and Black people all around the world here, has warped, I would say, the community's sense of existence, sense of person, into something that is unforgiving, okay, something that refuses to budge, okay, to allow other things. When we're talking about gay rights in Nigeria, when we're talking about queer rights in Nigeria, I'm often met with, or like, conversations that are often met with rebuttals of, oh, our government is so bad, which one be gay right? I bet, let us get one thing first. Okay, and I feel like African American societies are still stuck in that limbo where they're like, please, we're trying to talk of serious thing, we have serious thing, the government is bad, and that is intentional. That is intentional. All of this refusal to budge, to let Black people exist as human beings that can flourish into different, into a spectrum of identities. Okay, the white patriarchal conservative system is refusing them that humanity, okay, by distracting them with different battles, okay, different struggles that they need to, oh, this systemic aspect of the policies in our country, we have to overcome it first, and because we're so busy trying to overcome this obstacle to our humanity, to our existence, we don't have time for you being gay, we don't have time for you being queer. Like, growing up, I think before gay rights was like literally allowed in America, there were literal comedy, like comedic shows, comedy sketches where Black men will get on stage or in movies or shows, and they'll outrightly mock a Black man that presents as queer, okay, and children watch those shit. People like me as a child, I watched things like that, okay, and I internalized it as wrong. And then you have to also see the other aspect of the Black community that we hold on to all over the world is religion. Okay, religion is so, I think it's a carcinogen, okay, to the Black society, to the Black man. Religion is a weight designed to keep us in the cages that the same people that created this system of religion, okay, intended there. Like, the religious system is built to give us this false sense of hope that we just stay and die in one place, that we don't match, that we don't speak of ourselves, that we don't allow ourselves to exist. And if you look in the Bible, okay, they use the Bible to throw in the face of children expressing their queerness and their identities on the spectrum. They throw that, oh, this is not done in the Bible. God created Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. And it's like, going to break somebody's head. But what I'm trying to say, I'm getting to some ways, like all of these struggles, all of these stressors put upon us, you know, from generation to generation, okay, hardens a side of us, and that hardening is, in my opinion, dehumanizing. Okay, and that's why I feel like when a black man comes into the awareness that, oh, I'm queer, I'm gay, you know, I'm not heterosexual, I am not cisgender, yeah, he has to now start from the beginning. It's as if he has to start from the beginning. He has to start everything that he knows about himself. He has to, you know, it has to be dismantled. For him to come into full acceptance of his queerness, he has to dismantle everything that he knows. And that's why this video started to becoming a gay man. And those dismantling, you know, requires tackling internalized fears. They are not your fears, they are not my fears, okay? They are fears that have been woven into our DNA, you know, from one generation to the other. Okay, this is an intergenerational struggle, yeah. From one generation to the other, these fears have been woven into us because it is attached to suffering and death and destruction and just, you know, rejection of our identity as human beings, okay? Rejection of our humanity and all that comes with being a human, because black people are not a monolith. We're still beating that kind of stereotype till tomorrow, okay? So a black queer man has to dismantle all of that shit. He doesn't want to. He doesn't want to. It means loss of safety, loss of community, loss of belonging. Yeah. Now I'm focusing on men in this conversation because this is between, you know, 3 different groups of men. And I feel like the group of men we have to talk about addressing this video, like identifying this video, is Kit Lee. Okay. From what the way he has never presented himself as anything less than a cis heterosexual man. So I put him in the group of a cis het black man. And then we have Bretman Rock, a very queer person of color. Okay, I think that their pronouns are they them now. So Bretman Rock is in a queer group of like a queer person of color. Okay, queer Southeast Asian. I think it's Filipino, yeah. He has Filipino roots, so Southeast Asian. And then we have the DL Whisperer, an openly expressive black gay man. Okay, but like the thing that links like 3 of these people together is that they are not white men. Okay, already they are outsiders. They are not in the group, and they have generational background of what struggles woven into them. Yeah. For Kit Lee, obviously being a cis heterosexual man, you know, in the hierarchy of the patriarchy, he ranks higher than the so-called DL Whisperer, an openly out man, yeah, openly queer black man. Okay, he ranks. And then there is POC Bretman Rock, queer. Okay, in the hierarchy of things, he's also lower than Kit Lee's cis heterosexuality and his cis heteronormative expressions, yeah. And then there's the DL man, the black queer man. So all of this to say is that these groups of people have their own inner battles, their own inner struggles, you know, coming to terms with, and they all present as men. Like Bretman Rock does not present as a man, okay, but Kit Lee and this DL guy, they both present as men. And for generations, you know, when as a black man you are taught that God rejects you, you are taught that you're not welcome in religious communities, and you're also taught that society rejects you as well. there's gonna be internalized hatred of this aspect of himself. That is my opinion about this deal whisperer person. There's going to be a lot of internalized homophobia about everything that he is and everything that he cannot deny about himself. Okay, and I feel like the communities that we've lived, as I started with the black communities in general, African American community, have not been kind to people like the deal whisperer. Okay, I'm sure there's a lot of trauma attached to his growing up as a child and coming to the awareness of his queerness. A lot of trauma. I can't begin to imagine the horrors that he went through to come to this point where he can exist as an out and about gay man, gay black man. But the issue here is that the way the patriarchy works is that even Kid Lee, okay, Kid Lee would also have experienced some level of trauma, okay, just coming up as a black boy in any community. Yeah, he would have also experienced and the things I've watched from Kid Lee's videos, he's very non-conventional, and I think this is non-conventionality, because he is cis heterosexual. Yeah, I feel like this unconventionality is a bit in a protected like state. It's not protected, but it's kind of allowed within the community, as that Peking is just, that child is just like weird. Yeah, he's black, but he's kind of weird. Yeah. And I don't know, I don't claim to know anything about Kid Lee's upbringing and his story or whatever. I'm just saying that Kid Lee presents unconventionally, and his unconventionality is something that I feel, whatever he has gone through in the past, in this present moment he wears it proudly, and because he follows his he trusts in himself to an extent, that is why he can give honest reviews about restaurant and food business. Okay, a notorious aspect of community, of society that is usually under a lot of scrutiny. Yeah, we already get, like, I know that there's a level of mockery that comes with eating your own local dishes already, but for somebody, a black man, to stand and be like not like them Gordon Ramsay that goes to India and is cooking all this like Indian street food, and he's praised for it simply because he's a white man, first and foremost. I don't care what anybody wants to say, but like, he's giving this legendary status here. His behaviors, which is also very unconventional, yeah, let's just call it unconventional. Gordon Ramsay's behavior is unconventional, and the culinary field has been dominated by white men for decades now. Yeah, so Gordon Ramsay was not really doing anything special, because that's just a white man, sticking his nose in other people's business, and using his influence in the hierarchy of patriarchal expectations to influence people's opinion about something that they've already had their own opinion of before. Okay, basically what I'm trying to say is that Kid Lee got into that field and he's doing it in his own way. He's a black man and he's doing it in his own way, and he's focused on community building. He's building his community, he's contributing to the society. Not to say contribute as in because he's giving something to society, so no, it's without critique or something, but the fact that he's doing this just to do it. Okay, that's how we started. Okay, before he blew up on social media and everything. I'm just trying to say that Kid Lee is unconventional for a black man. Yeah, he's unafraid and he stands in his unconventionality with a level of confidence that inspires appreciation, that inspires what do you call it, followership, that inspires respect, that inspires just respect, basically, from the community in general. So now all of that, that's Kid Lee. Yeah, so he's existing in his own skin, he's confident in his own difference. Basically, he's different despite being a black man. Yeah, Kid Lee is confident in his difference. The dear whisperer, on the other hand, okay, ranks below like a person like Kid Lee in the hierarchy of the patriarchy of expectations for men. Yeah, he ranks below, and he also has internalized homophobia. Obviously, like, for my opinion, he has he has internalized homophobia that I feel you can see that he has not come to terms with his own person, his own personhood, and that is why he goes about hunting down the unconventionalities in other black men that he was not allowed to just flow with. Yeah, the things in him, okay, if you see the way he makes videos, the way he does, that is there's nothing wrong with that. I'm saying that because I'm in this point in my life, I'm enlightened and all of that, but like he probably grew in an environment that did not allow such expressions. But you see that no matter how much you beat something out of a child, it does not go anywhere. It just probably suppresses it, and then when he's free to be himself, he comes out again. But the thing coming forth, okay, you being expressive and unafraid to be effeminate, and as a black gay man, because there are black gay men that are not effeminate, yeah, but like you being all of that and like smirking and your lip gloss is popping, and you are like for the girlies and all of that. It's just like it does not it does not exempt you from doing the work, okay, from doing the work of unlearning homophobia. It does not exempt you from doing the work of unlearning the horrors and the fears that were forced into you, against your will as you were growing up as a black gay man. You need to do the work. Everybody needs to do the work, okay? Because if you don't do the work, you end up as the thing that made your life hell to other people. Yeah, I can't imagine you live a happy life if you go around just looking at videos of men being themselves, black men being themselves, and screaming that is DL, and seeking your hordes of fans onto them. And I will talk about his fans in a moment, but like I just want to say that the DL whisperer's behavior of wanting to out, because this, I don't see anything as violent, non-consensual outing. Yeah, it is violent. This thing he's doing is very, very violent. Like I started this video with, if we do this in this country and you point at somebody, a man or a woman or any genderqueer person, and you just out them, it doesn't matter who that person is, a mob will literally hunt them down. Like, we still have people being lynched, okay, on the streets just because of their sexuality in my country. So for me to come across such a person, it's just like, wow, in the free world you are still doing this shit. So that means this behavior of outing and setting targets on people's backs just because they present differently or than the patriarchal expectations does not go away, even if you have a system or a government that says, okay, you people are now free to be who you are. You get, because there's another system of government that we all like fall under. That's the governing system of our black communities. Okay, when this man, that's why I go into the fans he had, the followers he has now. Okay, they consist of insecure cis heterosexual women, okay, that have probably interacted with a DL man in their lives, or have been married to a DL man, or they come from the generation where black men were not allowed to be out and about and proud. Yeah, you see terms like punk, you see terms like sissy, and that is even more derogatory. And that brings me to this book that I read, my first queer read of the year, where it's a story centered on three people: a woman, Nicole; a man, Raymond; and a third person, a man. In the sense, like, Raymond is a bisexual black man. At the start of the book, that's what it looks like. He's a bisexual black man that has more affinity for men, but he's in love with Nicole because he loves Nicole. Yeah, but like after him and Nicole get together, they end up because he loves her so much, he ends up confessing to her that actually I am having a sexual relationship with this other guy named Kelvin. And the thing about Kelvin that shatters Nicole's reality is that Kelvin is married to her very best friend, okay, a childhood friend called Candice, and Candice eventually comes down with AIDS and passes away. So you can imagine the kind of reality that Nicole would have to start rearranging her around herself, and all of that elements of her reality will be based on fear, distrust, of queerness, basically. And it's well done in this book. Let me show you the book. The title of the book is Just As I Am. It is well done in this book. This book is written by Eileen Harris. Okay, it's well done in this book. You can see how Nicole, my absolute love for this book comes from the fact that the author, the central thing the author throws in there is that accountability is important, and accountability requires doing the work, okay, on learning your fears, questioning why you distrust this facet of human expression, questioning where your fears are coming from, questioning why your fears exist. Homophobia is literal fear of homosexuality, yeah. And because fear shows up into violent practices such as mobbing, lynching people, it does not still take away from the fact that it is still fear-based, and something that is fear-based can be unlearned, okay. You can come into the light of what you actually fear and realize there's nothing there, there's no boogeyman there. But the issue with the deal whisperer, yeah, in this case, is that he has not done the work, obviously, and he's taking advantage. He's okay, I think he's trying to establish his own superiority over other men, okay. And the only way he can feel superior in his inferiority, feels superior despite the position that the patriarchy has relegated him to, which is below cis het straight men, okay. And in this category you also have DL men, because DL men present as cis het men, okay. So he doesn't want to be below such. He's very well positioned in the patriarchy, in the hierarchy, that he's lower than all these people. So the way he tries to get a sense of superiority is by pulling down the so-called men that that were not put there in the first place. We're not put there in the first place, but they can do the work to get off of that hierarchy, okay. But he doesn't want to get off of the ladder. He doesn't want to free himself from this expectation. He doesn't want to free himself from this patriarchal position, this hierarchical positioning. He wants to be on top of somebody. He wants to become an oppressor. He wants to become an oppressor. That's just the goal of the DL whisperer. He wants to become an oppressor, yeah. And I wanted to mention something about bisexuality in gay men, in black men. Sorry, bisexuality is already a part of the LGBT umbrella that is really is really beaten down upon, and like nobody takes them seriously. They're like, choose one, can't you? But that's the whole point of being queer. You don't have to be any side, okay. You don't have to be on any side. You can just be yourself on the spectrum or whatever it is, because that's just the whole movement, yeah. So bisexuals are valid in that sense, but the thing is that this black and white thinking that also is very prevalent in our black community is also why people refuse. They're like, okay, I accept people like this DL whisperer that is out and proud. I accept him, fine, and it's okay. But what do you mean you like women and men? And it's black women, cis heterosexual black women reject bisexual black men. It's just like they absolutely reject it, and that sentiment is very prevalent in this book, yeah. There's the fear that Nicole expresses here. She expresses fear for all black men because she feels like she will not be able to spot a DL man. So imagine on social media then, and you see a man that comes online and say, I'm outly gay, I'm everything gay, but you know what I can do for you? I can show you who is DL. I show you who is hiding their sexuality, and when I show you, you can now, throw them off of that pedestal, throw them out, like oppress them, do whatever you like to them. Don't worry, I will give you that power to do so with my own queerness, through my own queerness. So he's weaponizing his queerness to become an oppressor. That is why when people say it's not enough for you to be queer, like being queer does not make you a saint automatically. Being queer does not erase the work you have to do to always be conscious in the environment that you exist in, the society you exist in, to make sure that you're not perpetrating harmful stereotypes that got you where you are in the first place, okay. That you yourself have suffered. Yes, you could have been tortured, you could have been traumatized about your queerness growing up, but that doesn't mean you cannot also traumatize people. We see that in Jeffree Star. Jeffree Star and this guy, this deal whisperer. This is trauma. You are literally you're literally hunting down people. Okay, you are literally hunting down your fellow the members of your community, or you're not in community with them. You feel like you're not in community with them, so you are like, no, I cannot be the only one outside. I need to, I need to also like mete out this punishment on them, okay, for trying to escape this position that I'm in, okay, because there's no way I can leave this position I'm in, which is a lie. When people say things like that's another conversation we need to have about when people say things like black gay men are also gay, or gay men are also men. First of all, gay men are men, first of all, okay. They like and they have benefits from the patriarchy that they are not willing to trade for anything in this world, okay, as long as it gives them a position in where they can oppress and reap the benefits that they are not owed from other like oppressed people in society. They will reap it, they will take it. So the lovely thing about this book is that it was written with so much love, so much attention, and I feel like in places where I wanted to scream at the characters, I wanted to scream at Nicole most of all, because guy, she had an out and proud gay best friend, Kyle, and she refused to speak to Raymond for a very long time. She cut off all ties with Raymond because of the loss of her dear friend, and the heartbreak he brought to her. And it's like, aside the loss of her friends here, this man just told you that he's bisexual. Okay, why did you feel like you lost something because you were with a bisexual man? It calls to mind that conversation that Nimi Leaks had with T.S. Madison about how she was rejecting the fact that men that seek out women like T.S. Madison would also seek out women like herself, which is a cis heterosexual woman. She was like, no. And I feel like it's so important what Dochi did as well. I think it was last year that she announced that she prefers bisexual men to straight men. Like, she cannot, and when she said she prefers bisexual men to straight men, you need to see the opera from all sides of the internet, from all groups of people. Why? And it's like, why not? Like, what does that do? Okay, so I feel like at the end of the day, this conversation about the dear whisperer is just emblematic, or just an embodiment of a larger problem we have in our society. The root of the problem in African American societies, and even African societies, and black people around the world in general. There is this I don't know how to say this thing now in a very like coherent way. There is this performance of gender, okay, and performance of gender is the only way I feel some black people, some Africans, feel that they can exist as human beings. So it goes back to the reclaiming of identity as black people, yeah, or as Africans, yeah. They feel like gender is the only way, and strict adherence to gender is what allows them to feel like an actual human being within their own interiority, in their own mind, in their own sense of self, okay. Queerness threatens that sense of self. Queerness threatens their humanization, okay. Queerness threatens it, and every day it's a walk to always come into acceptance with who you are as a queer black person. That's the extra work that queer black folks have to carry around, have to do, But when you live in this bubble that, because I'm out and proud and there are laws that are protecting my own existence now as a black man, what to do? Time to pay back, time to become an oppressor.
Dudes like the DL Whisperer project so much because they are entirely uncomfortable with themselves. And I know that sounds counterintuitive, but let me cook. A lot of dudes in the rainbow community grew up in the same community as straight people. And for most of their lives, up until recently, they've kind of been convinced that any sort of femininity is a negative. I know that because they shame dudes for being bottoms. A dude will be a feminine bottom and will shame other feminine bottoms for being feminine bottoms. I've just accepted that this video probably won't do well. But when they do finally step out that closet, they stop doing all of the things that used to mute any of them engaging in any of that feminine activity. But they haven't fully detached. So they start to seek hyper masculine men. And the only hyper masculine men that they can find tend to be bi dudes, bi and straight dudes. And considering a whole bunch of them don't really like bi dudes, even though that's what a lot of DL dudes are. They then conflate the experience they've had with the bi DL dude with, oh, he acts similar to how this straight dude acts. Therefore, he must actually also be DL. It's not true, but I finally understand the confusion. The answer to this is just getting more comfortable with the fact that you yourself are more feminine. It's cool, bro. You don't have to do all that. Oh, and grown man, by the way. Don't believe me? Watch this. Intersectionality.
I don't know if this video has made sense so far, but finally I want to touch on the cis heterosexual women that are giving this guy a platform, that have given him a platform, and that read people's comment sections. So this video of this guy talking about the OKB thing and calling out the DL whisperer is so important to me, yeah, because it's so important to me because I saw in the comments here that some cis hetero women were like doubling down and saying shit like, so what, like he's a punk, like and I want to let you know that in this book those terms were used freely, because that thing really, like, I felt shivers. Now I know, like, you know how slurs feel. I just felt shivers go down my back, like, oh, slurs, you know. But it had to be said, okay, because this is a black person. It's written by a man named Eileen Harris. Very cool guy. This picture. This picture. So middle-aged cis hetero women that come from that generation, okay, I think this book was set in the 80s, like late 80s, early 90s, yeah. The guy was not afraid to describe straight women being seriously homophobic. In fact, the main character, Nicole, she was a straight woman that is homophobic. But she did the work. She went to therapy. She questioned a lot of her beliefs, okay? She really did the work. Even religion was called into question by her. And she rejected community with religious people that, you know, rejected Kyle. People like Kyle, and she was like, do you understand that Kyle is my best friend? Like, she was addressing one of her church sisters, and I was like, well, the truth will prevail, because God is this, God is. And I said, where in the Bible did they say homosexuality is a sin? She said, I'll ask my pastor, but it's there. I don't think you should hang around with sin, you know, like, they're obviously going to hell. You know, like, Nicole was just like, you know what, don't ever call me again, because I'm going to be very angry at you right now. Don't ever call me again. All of that to say that the cis heterosexual women that are doing this, I can't really say, you know, that I can't really say that they've not, or they have been affected by DL men, because those pose a serious threat to the community's safety at large. And again, they are men, so there are benefits to presenting as straight, yeah. And they're just like, you know, whatever. The nefariousness of DL men is very valid to call out, but you don't deal with problems like that by putting targets on random black men as well, that present unconventionally, like present differently from the strict hegemony of what you know as a black man, you know, as a black straight man. Like, you don't have to put targets on their backs, okay? It's not normal, it's not right to do that. But beyond that, I feel like the more we do the work of unlearning our fears, of bringing our fears to light, okay, that's when we, like, men, like bisexual men, okay, because I feel like most of them are bisexual, the DL men, with an affinity for men as well. I feel like instead of them needing to be in the shadows, they can have a safe space to come into the light, okay? They can have a safe space to be bisexual in peace, bisexual and men in peace. So I'm pointing out all of the problems, basically, okay, the root of the problem in our community as black people, as Africans, and all of us all over the world, that we need to release the racist dregs, okay, that the white colonial slavers put worked into our DNA, and those things presenting themselves as fears of different kinds. Yeah, we need to break generational curses. Basically, we need to break generational curses, and we can only do that by questioning our fears and where they come from. And I feel like as black people, the thing that really, like, ties us together as a people is fear. Fear of the white man, fear of the systems that we exist in. Even Africans, we are tied up together into societies by fear. It is fear that is it's not love, it's fear that is the most, like, the biggest underlying force that joins us together. Fear of the unknown, fear of the new, fear of the unfamiliar, fear of the strange, fear of the difference, fear of the unconventionality, fear of the divergence, fear of the not normal, fear of the anormal, fear of the just different kind of fears. Fear of the devil, fear of the dark, fear of the things that we cannot touch and we cannot make sense of with our brains. And it's like all of these fears is what allow people like DL men to exist. Okay, because imagine them coming out and people like DL Whisperer is over there saying that if you're a bisexual man, like, it's a lie, invalidating their sexuality. If a man comes out as bisexual, you now hear things like so you take it off the back, like, no, shut up. Anyways, I feel like I don't know if this makes sense and if I've drifted so far away from Kikli. And what I just want to say is allow black men to be black men, and if they are gay, it does not erase their manhood, their identity as men. And I think the DL Whisperer is existing in that limbo of not recognizing his own selfhood, his own identity as a real human being that deserves to live and exist and be in a space of his own. And so he has to ingratiate himself with the oppressors. He has to bring something to the table of oppressors so that they can at least let him live, let him be a real person. And those oppressors, he does not realize are his followers. Those cis heterosexual women are his oppressors in a way, because they represent cis heteronormativity, compulsory heteronormativity. Because even though cis het women, what does being with a bisexual man take away from your heterosexuality? How does it invalidate your straightness, being with a bisexual black man? Being with a man that has slept with other men before, as a woman, as a straight woman, how does it invalidate your sexuality? And that's the question that Kyle had to ask Nicole in this book I'm talking about, because Kyle was, on his way out. Kyle came down with AIDS as well, because in that era, AIDS was stigmatized, HIV virus was stigmatized, so there was no real proliferation of knowledge and understanding and the drugs to be accessible to everybody. And so Kai was so scared when he got the diagnosis, and he let it stay, he let it deteriorate to the point where he now had AIDS, and there was nothing anybody could do at that point when he finally, told his friends, and so they had to just watch him die. But before he died, he called Nicole to question, and she, realizing this so late in her friend's life, she was so distraught, because there's real love, there's real love between her and Kai, but fear and love cannot coexist. You cannot love somebody when there is fear of that person. It's not possible. They are repellent. And so for her to come into this actual love, full love of her friend, even though it was on his deathbed, she had to, bring her fears to light. And she saw that they were just shadows. It does not take away from you your sexuality. As a straight woman, you find out that your husband is bisexual and you want to divorce him because of that, because he lied, because he hid an important truth from you. Fine and good. But to now set your life on a rampage of mob witch hunting, men that are bisexual that are not ready to come out with their own sexuality, like, you are foolish. Basically, you are foolish. And I want to even, like, the message I even want to even, that is so the big right handwriting on the wall that the DL Whisperer is pretending not to see, is that as easy as you can turn mobs of people on somebody as a person from a marginalized group within a larger marginalized group, is that mob that you are building can also turn on you. You cannot handle it. That's just what I can see, and I hope at that point in time, you know, I hope he's safe. I hope he finds a way to come to terms with his own fears, and I hope nothing like this does not backfire on him in that sense. And I mean backfire not in the sense of, oh, somebody's suing you for defamation, somebody's suing you for all of, no. Anyways, I can't imagine living in a country that allows me to be my full gay self if I am gay or if I'm queer. You know, I can't imagine living in that country and then minding businesses of other people that are queer. Like, what concern me? Like, do you know what freedom means? But anyway, I'm not interested in being an oppressor, so maybe that's where two of us differ. I will see you in the next video. That's all I have to say. Yeah, like, subscribe, and thank you for watching it. Okay, bye bye.